My husband calculated how much money I owe him since I'm not working from home because I'm in high-risk pregnancy. 30,000 in 6 months. He called this amount my debt. I have to work it out. If I return to work, he will first take my salary, like a bailiff, writes the reader to us in the letter. I am 34 years old and have been dependent on my husband for 5 years, with whom I have 3 children. I have been suicidal for 2 years. The only thing that keeps me alive is knowing I have to raise my daughters. I come from a small town where everyone knows everything about each other. My home village is located in Podkarpacie. My husband, Martin, was born there only 10 years earlier. We met in Berlin when I was studying English, and he was already a director in a large company. When I met Martin, my mother only asked when we would get married. Although my parents were happy that I graduated, what is this major, this English philology? Deep down, they wanted me to become a wife and mother as soon as possible. Someone they could tell their friends about. For them, starting a family was the definition of success in life. In 2016 we got married. At first, I was working, so everything was going as before. My husband was lovely and calm. Soon after, I became pregnant, and our first daughter Maja was born. The day she was born marked the end of my independence. I will never forget the afternoon I brought her home from the hospital. Martin said then, "Now you will take care of the house." Over the next few months, he made it clear to me that I was a lower species, not working but raising a child. On the other hand, he demanded that I never go back to the office. Under his influence, I quit my job. Kind words, tenderness, and respect are over. From day to day, I came face to face with a man who was demanding because he was the one who kept the house. I was nobody because I didn't bring any income. And besides, he suddenly changed his mind and wanted a big family. When, with a suspicion of postpartum depression, I went to a psychologist from the clinic. I heard, the birth of a child changes men. Your husband has a huge burden now. You have to understand that. You don't have to provoke him. I didn't answer. A year after my daughter was born, I got pregnant again. I felt terrible. For the first few months, I had to lie down. My mother was delighted with Martin then, that he walks around me and that he fulfills whims because he is a holy man. I swallowed back my tears, wishing I would miscarry and try to go back to work. I failed too. He handed me water and counted how much money I owed him since I didn't work from home. 30,000 in 6 months. He called this amount my debt. I have to work it out. If I return to work, he will take my salary, like a bailiff. But in his opinion, I will not return to work anyway because no one will accept me anywhere. I'm hopeless. So what if this debt only exists in his head? I can't afford to leave him at the moment. I don't have the support of my parents. I tried to talk to my mother and explain that I was utterly dependent on my husband, who was mentally abusing me. The concept of economic violence does not fit her head. Martin does not drink, does not hit, and, like every husband, has the right to demand. A third daughter was born a year ago. I had some complications after giving birth. Martin was furious. He kept saying I made him work from home, which was very uncomfortable. He added another €1,000 fine. I couldn't fight what I faced every day at home. I didn't have any help or a kind word. We live in Berlin, far away from everyone close to me. Martin isolated me from my friends. I recently watched a Netflix series about a woman living in an Orthodox Jewish community. I saw myself in it. Maybe not with a shaved head and weird, baggy clothes, but just as dependent on the man and the whole system I found myself in. I live in a big city, Berlin, Europe. I am a woman who graduated from college, and yet I fell victim to domestic violence, and I can't get out of it or explain to my loved ones that I'm hurt. It's just everyday life for them. No one but me knows what my relationship with Martin is like, what words are said behind the closed doors of our beautiful house. Nobody knows that I am accounted for every euro, that even though my husband earns well above the national average, I have been wearing sneakers with holes in them for a long time because I hear from him that he can't afford to spend money on me. I'm only entitled to the cheapest sanitary napkins, and I can go to the hairdresser before Christmas. In March, I started quietly giving English lessons, doing some small translations. I put the money into an account I secretly set up with my husband. Today I have 1860 euros on it. For the first 200 euros, I went to a private gynecologist and asked him for birth control pills. Martin doesn't know about it. The priest we both confess to and who always comes to us after carols to give the girls holy pictures and say a prayer with us does not know either. We have a house, a garden, and a dog. On Sunday morning, we go to church because my husband is very religious, then we go for a short walk and have dinner. Always 2 courses, soup and second. And then dessert. Next year I will be at a completely different point. First, I will find the strength for it. Then, for the first time in a long time, I will buy the girls' tickets to the zoo with my own money.